Hello. Today is a very dear and precious friend, Charlotte Ottley, Charlotte V.M. Ottley. That's M is for Merrick's. We'll be back with Charlotte in just a moment. And welcome back. I'm Bernie Hayes, and today I have the heartbeat of the Metropolitan St. Louis Urban League, Charlotte Ottley. Charlotte, how are you?
How are you? Thank you so much. It's like a reunion coming home every time I see you.
Oh, that's so nice of you to say. The last time you were here, we were talking about, we were appealing for a kidney for you. Is that correct?
Yeah. I was pretty passionate about getting a donor, and I was standing strong that donor or nothing. And, well, the nothing happened.
Well, how's the process coming? I mean, what's happening? Are you still searching for one?
You know what? It's a day-to-day, but surprisingly, I am better now that I'm on dialysis than I was the 3 years that I suffered leading into it, not knowing what was going on with my body as it was collapsing piece by piece. And though I fought it with everything I had, not to go on dialysis, there I am, and this is how I ended up.
You know, we have a pandemic right now, this COVID-19 pandemic, and yet and still you risk your safety just to come here to visit with us, and that's what true friends do. I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming out, Charlotte, just to visit us here at New Life. Mike McMillan, I understand. Mike is when you first made this appeal, he was saying you wouldn't slow down.
Yes, he is. You know, Michael is extremely holistic in his approach to everything. Yeah. When he self-quarantined, it didn't stop his mind for being of service to other people and figuring out in this pandemic, how can I be a part of the solution? And in 3 days, he rallied food distributors, volunteers, sponsors, and we hit the road within 3 weeks after the pandemic was announced, feeding people, targeting primarily low-income communities. And we haven't stopped. By the time we end, we're going into our 19th or 20th one this Saturday. In Alton, in the Alton Square. Right. And we will end the end of this month, at least with the big food drives where we were feeding 3,500 to 5,000 people burning a week. Wow.
I know you've been crossing the river by East St. Louis, Alton, both sides of the river, and the Jamestown Mall. Looks like you're there almost every week.
Well, the Urban League covers the entire metropolitan area, the city, the county, St. Clair County. Yeah.
Well, Charlotte, how can we help you? Could you tell us this experience of going through this dialysis thing? I think we'll have some pictures of you. Perhaps we can show them now and you tell us what they are.
Oh, my goodness, yes. That picture was supposed to have been an outpatient where you go in and have a little surgery and then you go home that night. That was when they put a graft in my arm so that I could receive dialysis, and which should have been a 2-hour surgery turned into a 6-hour experience for me. And out of concern, friends who were in the lobby waiting for me in the waiting room one of them just insisted and came back to the back and was just appalled at what she saw. So that picture is to me my reality of how far I've come.
Okay. Here's another one. Describe that.
Well, that's dialysis. I'm in a chair at dialysis covered up because I'm extremely cold in that environment. But, you know, I've made an adjustment because it's quite, once you one, you know how I resisted going to dialysis. I ended up having after them taking 20 minutes to resuscitate me in an ambulance, I ended up the next day on dialysis, and which was extremely traumatic. And a few days out of the hospital, I checked into the dialysis center at BJC. And my life, whatever life I had had, it flipped full circle. I walked into an environment that was like one I had never experienced before. It was a trauma. And I'm a pretty tough cookie when it comes to adjusting to challenging environments, but that was pretty challenging to sort of see the number of people who are on dialysis, to see the needles, to hear all the noise in the machines constantly. Yeah. I mean, I was pretty traumatized for the first week or two about the whole experience and all of the doubt things that come. How did I get here? Why me? All of that happens because you're just knocked off balance. Sure. But I got my balance back.
Here's another one. Could you describe this for us?
That picture is when I came out of the hospital, and I kept telling people I had had a baby. And so I got, and typically, I mean, I did have a baby. I mean, it's like now I have dialysis. But the other is a young baby who was supposed to have been born in September. And then they said, no, it would be an early birth in July. Decided to be born on my birthday.
Wow.
So I have a twin. So people laughed and sent me flowers and baby toys because I said, well, I had a baby called Dialysis and I had a real baby in Atlanta called Ava. So it was a fun way to step out into my new life.
Good. I think we'll have maybe another slide that we want to show you, and you perhaps describe this for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is how to reach you in case people want to...
Well, even though I'm in dialysis now, I am on the...
donor list?
The transplant list.
Okay.
I have now made it to page 3, which means that within the next 3 years, moving at the pace things customarily go, I should be up for a donor. However, I believe in miracles. So I will always push that number and always say, if it's someone who has it in their hearts to try, please do. I did have a young man who I've known most of his life who tried from November till August. So it's not an easy process. Right. You have to get an appointment. You have thousands of papers to fill out. You have to take a stress test and have all kind of blood pressures and weights, etc. Then you have to go talk to your family. Then you sit through recordings and videos so that you know exactly what you're getting into. And then you wait and you wait. And then they call and say, you passed the screening, and then they want you to come in for something else. This young man went through all of that for me. His name is Alvin Parks. He went through all of that for me. And later they told him by September, he was not a match.
Was this Alvin Parks, former mayor of East St. Louis?
Alvin Parks. And both of us were almost devastated when that happened, because I think you may have gotten an email or text from me saying, he was called back, I think I have it, I think I have it. Yeah. And both of us, he felt like he had let me down, and I was angry at the process that he had gone through. But it was those kinds of acts of determined love for me and kindness, Bernie, including you with your regular text message that's gotten me through. And I've kissed death in the face a couple of times now, so this isn't new to me. But to go through this at this stage in my life was something I wasn't quite prepared for.
Okay. We want to come back and discuss exactly who Charlotte Ottley is. In the meantime, we're at the 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. Reverend Larry Rice has been providing services for the needy and for the homeless for nearly 50 years. And we'll be back with Charlotte Ottley after this.
I certainly hope you enjoy the Bernie Hayes Show. Well, are you telling everybody about it? Showing people how to put it on their phones? You get that NLEC TV app. People can not only see it throughout the bi-state area, but around the world. Yes, there's so many great guests that Bernie has, and you don't want anybody to miss any of the shows. So get that NLEC TV app, put it on your phone. And at the same time, please continue to support the work of the New Life Evangelistic Center, which owns and operates 24.2 or NLEC TV. Yes, people throughout the greater St. Louis area can get it on 24.2, but I watch it on my phone. That way, wherever I'm at, anywhere in the country, I can go to NLEC TV and watch. Remember, it's your prayers and gifts that continue to make all this possible. And as you share a special gift on behalf of the Bernie Hayes Show, so we can keep it on the air and all the other programs, why don't you ask for one of the cups that have actually the Bernie Hayes Show right here on the cup. Actually, it's my wife's favorite coffee cup. She always goes looking for this cup when she wants to drink some hot tea or coffee. And this is the Bernie Hayes Show cup, and you can get one also. And we encourage you to share a gift of $25 or more, so we can not only keep this program on the air, but all the rest of NLEC TV, and supporting the work of the New Life Evangelistic Center, which has first responders out on the streets among the homeless, opening safe houses for the women and for the children, giving them on-the-job training opportunities, for example, here at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri, and training programs in New Bloomfield, Marshfield, the largest daytime walk-in shelter in southwestern Missouri, northwestern Arkansas, 8806 North Jefferson, and so much more. Go to the World Wide Web and discover it yourself. It's New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166.
John 11, verses 25 and 26.
I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live, even though he dies, and whoever lives and believes in me will never die.
And welcome back. My guest is Charlotte V.M. Ottley. M is for merits. And I'm sure she's going to...
I think you wanted more people who know what Charlotte V.M. means, but thank you. I consider those initials an honor.
To tell us what the V.M. means.
Well, my name is Charlotte. Vanita, I was named by my father's oldest sister, who I thought was the most beautiful woman in the world. And M is my maiden name, Merritt's. And then Ottley was my married name, is my married name, but I'm no longer married.
Sure. You know, and you've had such a bright and beautiful and wonderful and tremendous career. You know, CBS TV, New York. Wow. Oh, my goodness. On the East Side, you was the heartbeat of dancer. She was I guess she was like your baby, was she not? I don't know. Just tell us a bit about Charlotte Ottley. You know.
Well, you know, I have had a very, very blessed and special life, and I tell you, the beauty of this whole dialysis and kidney thing is that I've taken time. See, I sort of rush through life. I rush through the challenges and meeting them. I rush through making everything as great as I could make it. I rush through loving people and being loved. And I came to a screeching halt because when I was doing those things, as long as the people I loved, and they knew I loved them, and I knew they loved me, and it was go for it, and one success after the other, I was happy. To go through this, Bernie, Mom and Dad are gone. My fiance, who I was to marry in February, he died in November. And my ex-husband, whose name I carried, he passed. And I mean, the list just goes on of losses. And I'm saying, what's this? All of my anchors are gone. And it's though God says, but you have me. And that's what I ended up turning to. And I tell you, the moment, although I've talked it, when I really released and let it come in, the angels that came to me from every place. I mean, one of my students from Florida A&M that I hadn't seen since the 70s when I taught there, mentees that were my interns back in Channel 4. I mean, people from all over the country just came into my life. And I had 6 caregivers that many of them didn't know each other, but there was 6 of them that took turns and communicated with each other on what I needed, how to take care of me, etc. The therapist, I mean, it just opened up a world of love for me, not a world of grief. And I think as I think about if I had anything to say, because so many people were hollering and fussing and everything, you ought to be on dialysis, you ought to be, which at that time I felt like it was just saying that I was too weak to go the distance, and I took it as a challenge. But I apologized to them because that was the only way they knew how to care. And that's the way they expressed it to me.
Sure.
And I've now learned that it is the best thing for me. And it's not been as bad as I thought it would be. And I've made wonderful friends with the technician, the lady Terry, Maurice. I mean, there's so many of them that have embraced me. And I've embraced them, but I let them in.
That's
I
great.
allowed them to.
That's great. Tell us about your association with Catherine Dunham.
Oh, that was marvelous. I was an intern at SIU Carbondale, and the president of the university, and I was his student intern, he said that he knew that my family owned taxi cabs in East St. Louis. So he said Catherine Dunham was moving there, and he wanted me to intern for her. That was in 1968. I was with her off and on. I was sort of her go-to girl. I need money for this. I need to meet that person. Go do this.
Sure.
And the last conversation I had with her was the Wednesday before she died on a Sunday morning at 10:30. She called me that Wednesday 10 times because she was trying to call me herself. And for some reason, the phone kept breaking, breaking down. So she said to me, I am not coming home. And I said, Miss Dunham, I did all these things, rehabbed your house, got this done, put an elevator in, got the museum and got the temperature right, fixed up the dance school, stayed within the budget, the state is happy. I even had this left over. She says, it's like I could see her smiling. She says, I know. She says, I am very happy and you are the one who could do it, and I'm glad you did. I love you. You take care of yourself, and I wanted you to hear it from me first. I hung up the phone and said, there we go. Someone has told her something negative.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to her later in the week. And later in the week, I got the call. I said, okay, she's calling me. And it wasn't. It was her assistant letting me know that she had passed.
Wow. You were one of the pioneers. You and Ron Nichols were some of the first blacks who had a television program at Channel 4, which is now KMOV, but it was KMOX at the time. Tell us about that experience.
Well, I didn't understand when I'm saying I'm on fast track, I'm not knowing I'm the first. I'm not knowing that I'm doing anything but the best me I can be.
Yeah.
And see, challenges never blocked me. They just made me be a better strategist on how I could get around it, under it, sit still and wait for it. And most of the times the sitting still wasn't quite easy. I still haven't learned that lesson really well. But I get a better reflection on me championing getting the first Black journalist up on the broadcast floor of the White House during Clinton's administration. I didn't know I was the first. I didn't know that it would result in me going to the White House to actually coordinate the press conference led by a Black radio network with Mandela and Clinton. I didn't know that. I just was in the mood. I was moving. Okay, we need to get there. So I was on the job, not on the credit. And when I look back on my life, it's almost unbelievable. When I looked at my Emmys, I had to go back and find my certificate to make sure, I really did get this. I mean, because often on some of the Emmys, the station name may be on it,
sure,
or the program may be on it. And I had to check that was me. So I've been blessed. And I know people think that when you say you're blessed, it's a spirit within you that renews itself repeatedly, because no matter how many people or things missing in your life, it's a spirit of, I'm not alone.
These are just some of your credentials. You have so many, many more. I'm just so blessed to know that you're here with us. And Charlotte, we're going to take a short break, but we want to come back and talk about your need for a transplant and the experiences you're going through on this dialysis thing, and just how you continue to work for Mike McMillan and the Urban League and all those things that you do. And it's just amazing. And we'll be back to discuss some of those things after this.
Hello, I'm Larry Rice, and I want to invite you to join me in moving into God's healing power of creation. We may be getting older, but we don't have to get bitter. We can get better as we take God's prescription, an invitation to move and experience His healing power by getting up out of the four walls and moving out into creation, beholding His wonders of creation, seeing evidence of the resurrection all around us from every seed that has popped out of the ground and brought forth His beauty and power at this time. Experience healing for your body, your mind, your spirit. Let Him lift the stress, the worry, the anxiety from you. I have to go into creation on a daily basis, beholding God's wonders, His beauty. Experience it. Take the prescription of time alone with God in the midst of His creation at this time and watch Him do exceedingly abundantly beyond what you can even stop and think. Yes, beyond what you can think about. Experience the beauty of His creation and healing for your soul.
We'll return to our guests after this Black History Moment. Today's subject, Alfred Crail, an African-American businessman and inventor who was best known for inventing the ice cream scoop in 1897. He was born in September 4th, 1866 in Virginia, just after the end of the Civil War. He was sent to Washington, D.C., where he attended Wayland Seminary, a branch of the National Theological Institute. He moved to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where he worked as a porter in a drugstore at a hotel. And while working at the hotel, he developed the idea of an ice cream scoop. He did not become famous for his invention of his ice cream scoop. It spread widely so quickly that people forgot and never knew that Crail was the inventor. Thus, he never profited from his invention. Crail was killed in an automobile accident in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Alfred Crail.
Now you can take NLEC TV anywhere as you put the NLEC TV app on your iPhone or mobile device. NLEC TV is an innovative TV station that's on the cutting edge of community service. On NLEC TV, you'll discover wholesome family, community, renewable energy, and inspirational programming. Those needing energy assistance, food, clothing, or freedom from the cycle of homelessness will find that plus much more on NLEC TV. Now, you can receive NLEC TV by going to 24.2 on your television set or putting the NLEC TV app on your iPhone or mobile device. For further information, call 314-436-2424 or go to NLECSTL.org. That's NLECSTL.org. Hello, I'm Larry Rice, and I'm inviting you to join me daily on the New Life Facebook page. Something new, something exciting every day. So go to facebook.com/NewLifeSTL and discover what's happening on a daily basis as New Life Evangelistic Center begins to share with you a wide variety of subjects. I look forward to visiting you on the Facebook page. Remember, there's so much just waiting for you at that particular page.
Our guest is Charlotte Ottley. Charlotte now is a transplant on dialysis. She's searching for a donor for transplant. Perhaps you can explain that better than me, Charlotte. You are on dialysis, and tell us about that experience again, please.
Well, the first day I went to dialysis, I cried out loud like a baby.
Oh.
And a lady came by my side named Terry, because my skin is thin and my veins are small, and the needles just hurt. They just hurt.
Sure.
And finally, after 2 or 3 days of me being disrupted, Terry says, tell your doctor you need lipoderm, so that the pain will, we can deaden the pain. And that's what I've been on, and that stops sort of the pain. Then I would complain about, it's very cold in there, and someone, Connie, bought me a chair cover that was nice and warm. And then I changed how I dressed to go. Then they give you ice because you can't drink water, so I got my own cup. So the bottom line is that you can get through any situation if you know who you are and aren't afraid to be it. And and surround yourself with what makes you the best you can be.
Okay.
Well, I needed a certain cup because it held more water, because the ice melts real quickly. I needed to be warm. So it's things, and I needed sunglasses on. That's the reason you need sunglasses, because the lights were so bright. And then the visuals of people bleeding, or men who had to put their pants down because they could only get the needles in their groin.
Sure.
When people go into cramps or a cold blue would happen, I just had to block some of that out and put my earphones on and just put the TV right in front of me so that I could deal with that moment. Now, I'm pretty good. I walk in and we laugh and talk, and I still do my thing, but they tease me saying, okay, Miss Ottley, when your bed is ready, let us know.
Okay.
Or the guys will say, hey, Hollywood, because I'll have my glasses on, and you know, I got some East St. Louis talk for them to come back. So I've made the adjustment as best I can. And people around me, like in the work environment with Urban League, I have so many caregivers over there. They would just bring me, like, I know you haven't eaten, and put a salad in front of me. Or they'll say, you don't need to drive, we'll come and pick you up. Or, Miss Ottley, I can see you've gotten too tired. We're going to take you home. It's time for you to go home. I mean, they are very, and it was a picture I think I had sent you where Barbara Bowman, who's over finance, vice president of the finance department, she saw me at a reception because I wanted Michael represented, and I had no confirmation. I know he couldn't go, and it was for Powell for his art show. So even though I had dialysis,
Robert Powell,
I was making my point to make an appearance. When I got there, she had made it a point to make it an appearance for me. And when I got there, she went, no, you did not show up. And she drugged me out of there, and I'm laughing because people are saying, where are you going? Da, da, da. And she said, you're going to go, get off your feet, and eat. And I needed all three of those things.
Sure.
So I found love in places that I didn't know I had.
You know, Charlotte, we've never had a conversation. You've never had visited this TV program. We've never seen you at the Urban League or any place that you haven't confessed your faith. Tell us about it now.
What? With the TV programs?
Tell about your faith.
My faith?
Keep you going.
Lord.
Yeah, sure.
We got enough time? No.
We'll
think faith as a young person was very routine because I went with my grandmother. I'm the fifth generation of my church, Mount Zion Baptist Church. And I went to everything with her, all the tent things and everything. So I was exposed. I was secretary of the Sunday school, director of the choir, the youth choir. And you just grew up in those days in the church from BYU, everything from the afternoon. And so that was my life.
Right.
And
We've only got about 30 seconds left, Charlotte. I'm sorry to cut you off because I know how you like to confess and tell about how much. Once again, we only have about 20 seconds. How can we reach you and how can we help you?
Well, I think the best way you can reach me is if you want to be a donor. And I think they'll show that picture shortly so that you can do that and help somebody in memory of thinking of me. Just figure out who can I help, and help somebody. Now with the virus, somebody's hungry. Now with the virus, somebody needs a helping hand. Now with all the illnesses and kidney patients like me are highly vulnerable as well as my age group.
Sure.
So
We've got to go, Charlotte. I'm
find
so sorry.
somebody to love.
Time is up, and I just want to say thanks again for putting yourself at risk, even coming out this pandemic to visit with us.
I hope I was helpful.
We love
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Bernie Hayes, and please continue to support Channel 24.2, Reverend Larry Rice, and the New Life Dialysis Center. Have a great day.